last weekend I harvested a lot from the garden. So I harvested all of my cucumbers and almost all of my spring onions. And it was way too much stuff. Like, how much is sriracha?
Good person made.
Right. So, 2 weeks ago I made a batch of dill pickles. So there's some things that we can tweak definitely with this recipe and how we go about it, even from selecting the cucumbers to how we process them to ratios. So I guess we're just gonna get started by, first you said, trimming the blossoms. So with this recipe, I did a 3.2% brine, so just salt and water.
So that brine is based on the weight of the water, yeah?
Right.
Great.
Right. So I seasoned this brine with lots of different spices and dill flowers, as well as some chilies, and a whole head of garlic.
How'd you prep the cucumbers?
I didn't do anything to them. I just harvested all different shapes, sizes, and ripeness, and threw them into a bucket together with the brine.
So, inherently with most lactic preserves, we want our vegetables not overripe. So if you had some overripe cucumbers in there, which we did discover there were some, they have a tendency to get soft. One other way that you can ensure that your cucumbers stay crisp, there's two things. One is the blossom end of the cucumbers have an enzyme in them that if the end is not cut off, that enzyme can cause them to get soft. It'll hollow them out and soften. So we'll cut that off first. And we can do that with all of them. And then also adding grape leaves. So we're lucky enough that we have a bunch of grape leaves growing right outside the kitchen here. So the tannins in the grape leaves assist with the density of your ferment as well. So they have a tannin in them. They also have an enzyme that helps cucumbers to stay crisp when fermenting. So that would help with these, even though most of them were perfect. Some of them could have used a little more love. So putting that blossom on will really help with that.
These are quirks. They're super, super dense too. And the seed cavities tend to be pretty small. Sacrifice one here. But the seeds are really baby. It looks like it almost looks like I just cut into a pickle.
Absolutely.
Right?
So yeah, the more dense your cucumber is, the better your pickle will be in the end. So some of them that are just inherently softer cucumbers, or they're really large and have a really large seed in the center, aren't going to be your best pickling cucumber. Those are the ones you're probably better off either doing like a quick bread and butter pickle with and vinegar, or just use for gazpacho. Put it all in there.
Oh yeah.
Layer in some of these guys. I often like to just open them up a little bit, some of those cell walls open so that they can release those enzymes.
Season this.
Sure.
So I just weighed this much water on the scale. It was like 1,920 grams. And then just 3.2% of that salt.
This is Diamond Kosher salt that we're using here. We're fairly specific about it because it has a very benign flavor and no additives or anything like that. So it keeps the pickles really clean. Its weight to salinity really seems to balance out in a nice way no matter which way you do your measurements. If you wanted to have a smokiness to your pickles, like by all means you could use smoked salt. The salinity the salt will act in the same way. So that is up to the maker. But yeah, a good rule of thumb if you don't have a scale in house is to do 1 tablespoon per cup of water of Diamond Kosher salt. You'll get to about 3%. So you can always just add a little extra. And then for most of your other pickles, you can do anything between 3 and 3.5% salt based on weight of water, and pretty much lactic ferment anything.
So I went really heavy on the coriander, because I love coriander, and I think that should be good heat from the chilies.
Oh yeah, definitely. They'll bloom. Absolutely. You could use fresh serranos in there. Sometimes when I do pickles like this, I'll just actually puree onions, garlic, and dill and make a brine out of that. And then pour that in, which really gets all of the essential oils from the herbs nice and strong.
That's awesome. I like that a
Blend
lot.
chilies in, blend serranos in. So if you're worried about how much brine you're going to have, you can pour the water. You don't want to have excess. You pour the water over, your plain water over whatever it is that you're fermenting. Pour that back out, and then do your ratio based on that. There's never a bad time to have a little bit of extra salt brine. So. You can always make another batch. So we want to create as anaerobic of an environment as possible. So what we'll do is we'll put some weights down on this before we ferment it and keep it, maybe we'll add a little bit more brine to it. You can do what's called backslapping also. So what I like to do with most pickles is take a little bit of an old brine that you know has all that good lactic going on, and you can pour that in as well. And that just helps to boost the rest of the brine and get the probiotics going right away and get all those enzymes nice. So now that we've demystified the fermenting of cucumbers and hopefully all other vegetables, at least on a basic level, it's a call to everyone out there with an overabundant garden to go and ferment something, be it cucumbers, hopefully. Let us know what you make.